Hello, everybody. I should be live, and if you can hear me, say so in the chat, and I'll be very happy to take any of your questions. So I'm currently coming to you live from Indonesia. Specifically, I'm right here. This is, for context, this is Bali. This is all of Indonesia. And right now I'm on this island called Sulawesi. And by the way, if you're watching this after the fact and you're not live right now, I should have timestamps for the different questions and any topics that I covered so you can catch up after the fact. So, yep, this is where I am. I've actually been traveling a lot through Indonesia all year long. 2025 for me has been my Indonesian language and Indonesia travel project. I went all the way through Java from Jakarta through Bandung onto Yogyakarta, Semarang, and Surabaya. And then I flew to Batam, which is right across from Singapore, right here, and then to Borneo, the east part of Borneo, and now I'm in Sulawesi. So yeah, pretty crazy travels. And of course, I've been using my Indonesian throughout this project. If you check out the Fluent in 3 Months channel, you'll see I uploaded my 2 or 3 month update so you could hear what my Indonesian sounds like. But while I'm here, I'm actually getting to use the language. So yeah, that's my quick update, but I see a couple of people have joined us, so feel free to ask any questions related to your own language project or to your travels, and I will be very happy to take them. I see you've got one already. And in the meantime, just a quick note that I'm doing a summer sale that if you go to the website, you'll see we got a big banner, just put a discount code SUMMER and you get everything that we've got on Fluent in 3 Months available to you guys. So do check that out, open up another tab, see what we have. We have different courses for very specific languages, lots of videos I've done over the years, and even our bootcamp is $100 off. So lots of stuff there. And if there's any questions about our products, I'll be very happy to take those in the chat. So the first question, or first I'll say hello to Dom and Larry, and you guys can see Fluent in 3 Months in the chat, and that is Kidichai, and he can share any links if you guys need them, like the summer sale link he just did. And so Dom Z says, "Hey Benny, have you gotten to the level of being bilingual in any of the languages that you have learned?" So very good question. And essentially, to be counted as bilingual in a language, you would need to have essentially perfect skills in the language. And this goes beyond the European Common Framework, which ends at the C2 level. So I do have a C2 level in a couple of languages. I have a C2 diploma in Spanish. I did have a C2 level in German, or a little bit less than that because I did the actual C2 exam and I didn't pass the listening comprehension, but I passed everything else. So I have reached C2. And the thing about being C2 is you might still have an accent. There might still be a couple of odd mistakes that you make, but you can still do most things in the language. However, I would call C2 mastery, not bilingual. So keep in mind, I've learned all my languages as an adult. So to reach a bilingual stage, you would need to have ideally learned the language growing up. I do think it is possible to be bilingual as an adult. Absolutely, there are people who have shown me this is true. This is not necessarily part of my priorities in the language. I do reach a stage where I have a very, very light accent, and people have mistaken me for a native speaker, but that's very different to being bilingual because being mistaken for a native speaker depends on the context. And people have only, if people listen to me for just 1 minute, then I'm only giving them so much material to work with before they might draw a conclusion. So I've been mistaken for a native speaker, but I am not bilingual in any of my languages. For my purposes, anywhere from fluency to mastery is more than enough. I don't need anything beyond that based on my my needs in the languages. So, hello, Sarka. Thanks for joining us as well. And a Korean is saying you're going to relocate to Semarang within 3 months. Wow, that's a small world that you're going where I was. Semarang was a very interesting city. For anyone curious about where it is, I'll bring back up this window here. So once again, this is this very oddly shaped island, Sulawesi, is where I am right now in the city of Makassar. But Sarka is moving here to Semarang, which was the first non like super popular city that I visited on my Indonesia trip. I found it very interesting because there were no other white people there. I got very good prices on my accommodation, my motorbike rental. There's a lovely park in the middle of the city. So I found people very friendly there. But in terms of expats, I'm not sure. I did do a search ahead of time. I believe I found a Facebook group. If you search for Semarang on Facebook, I think there's a Facebook expat group, and it wasn't super active, but I think they did have people meeting up on occasion. Just it didn't happen to be going on for the 1 week that I was there. But generally, for this particular project, I'm actually not really going out of my way to meet expats. If you want to meet expats, you go to Bali, where there's plenty of other foreigners. I have been going out of my way to make sure I'm meeting Indonesians and trying to make friends with Indonesians. So I can't give you too much advice on that, but you'll definitely enjoy Semarang, and I do think you'll find expats through the likes of a Facebook group. There's no meetup.com. Another thing you could do is use couch surfing. I've been finding couch surfing is a lot more active in Indonesia now than I found it to be in a lot of other countries. Like when I was in Brazil last year, didn't really find couch surfing to be super active. There was a couple of meetups, but nothing too crazy. But here, a lot of people have actually been contacting me because I put my location on couch surfing, and I met a lot of Indonesians that way. So you may find non-Indonesians through couch surfing as well. So that's just a couple of ideas for you. So if anyone else has just joined, please do feel free to leave your own questions and comments in the chat. I'll be very happy to take anything that's on your mind, any curious issues you've been facing in your own language project. For me, I gave my Indonesian my full 100% dedicated attention for the first 3 months of this year, and I haven't been giving it as much attention in the recent months because I've been focusing a lot more on travel. But I've reached the stage, I'd say like B1 on that scale that I mentioned, that I have been able to make a couple of friends through Indonesian as long as they're patient with me. So definitely not at the fluent level, which would be B2. And for me to be fluent, I'd need them to be able to speak naturally and follow two people speaking between one another. But if somebody is patient, I can have conversations about many things. And I've been a very independent traveler in Indonesia, doing absolutely everything by myself. I don't use any tour guides. I don't have anything along those lines to help me. So I've been doing a lot with my Indonesian. And Sarka's saying, how do you like Indonesia? And are you staying there till December? I am not staying here till December. The visa I got, ironically, the visa for Indonesia is called the C2 visa. I'm always talking about B2, C1, C2. I am now on the C2 visa, which has a 6-month limit. I could do longer. There are expat visas and all these other options if I wanted to live longer. But for my purposes, I went for the 6-month C2 visa. The last day of my visa is my birthday, July 10th. So I'm actually leaving immediately after that and going on to the next country. And as it happens, my next project is going to be reactivating all the languages that I haven't used in a while. So I'm going to go back into maintenance mode for the second 6 months of the year. So I'll be pushing my my Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, German, my best languages. I want to make sure they're nice and solid. But I'm also going to try and reactivate some languages that I've kind of let slip a little bit. I want to get my Mandarin back to where it was when I was in China. So I'll give that some decent work, as well as my American Sign Language. I will be working on that a lot because I'm going to be spending a little bit of time in the United States and I want to be able to use that language. So I won't be staying here beyond July. However, I'll be back in Indonesia, most likely at the start of 2026. I wasn't initially planning to, but my brother is going to be holidaying in Bali, so I want to spend time with him. So I'll be back in the country again. So you'll be hearing me talk about Indonesia at the start of next year. Although I won't have another project like this, I'm going to go to some other countries in Asia. But yeah, I'll talk about my future travels, of course, on the email list that you guys are. If you're there, you'll see me share it before anything else. And of course, you can find my Instagram has lots of my travel updates. If you guys aren't following me there, check that out. Just Irish Polyglot on Instagram, and these are lots of photos of my Indonesia travels, and even a couple of songs that I did based on a TikTok format. So yeah, I'll be sharing my future travels as soon as I can. So keep your questions coming. I'll stick around, and once I see I've answered everything from everyone, I won't drag this on. I wanted to give everyone a chance because I haven't done one of these live streams in a very long time. I think about like 9 months at least, and that was only one or two last year. So, yep. So Korean Libertarian says, I think it's such a nice city. You've been twice to Semarang. Oh yeah, I definitely like Semarang. So good choice. And let me know if you have any other questions about my time in Indonesia in particular. Yeah, as I was saying, the next project I'm going to do is going to be my language reactivation, and then in 2026 I might take on a new language, and that's generally how I do this to become a polyglot rather than do one language, then the next language, then the next language. I found, at least over the last 10 years, my process is typically focus on just one new language for 3 months, maybe have some time to practice it for several months, like I'm doing with Indonesian, and then for at least 6 months per year, completely in maintenance mode. So I want to be practicing all my languages so I don't let them slip. So that's kind of the trick. And that is something I talked about in Fluent in 3 months, of course. I mentioned my process of becoming multilingual in that book. Um, so yeah, I do appreciate you guys joining me. I gave it this time because I wanted to make sure I had as many people as possible. It's actually past 10 p.m. here in Indonesia, but it is, I know, first thing in the morning in America. So I'm glad I got a couple of people. I got Dom, I got Larry, Sarka, and then Korean Libertarian. So got lots of people joining me. And now Silent Scope is saying, what are your thoughts on LingQ? So I'm actually a fan of LingQ. I really appreciate their system very specifically for reading comprehension. And I think any system that tries to teach you everything in a language is not going to do it well. There's many tools that spread themselves too thin, and I don't like them for that. But with LingQ, when I want to read something, I use that tool specifically for a bunch of different languages because it tracks what I do and don't know. So I am definitely a fan of LingQ, but I only use it for reading. So with Indonesian, for instance, I didn't really have any priority to be able to read Indonesian because I'm traveling the country so much. I need to be able to speak with people. So I did not use LingQ. I forget if LingQ even has Indonesian in it. But for my better languages, I find it's very good for setting the levels. So, you know, when I want to practice my French, there's some really advanced C2 French resources that are ready within LingQ, or I can just pull up an article from Le Monde, like a newspaper article, import that and read that and kind of make a note of the words I do and don't know. So I'm definitely a fan of LingQ, and I do recommend it to people whenever they're talking to us. And if you're not sure how to tackle your own summer project, do make sure you check out our bootcamp. And like I said, Bootcamp is currently on a discount for the summer. We're taking $100 off that. So check out Bootcamp and check out anything else that we have on Fluent in 3 Months' summer sale. And you'll see all of our products, but specifically Bootcamp, we talk about the resources. We got a very big introduction to the best resources to solve specific problems. And that's something that we help people with. And then, of course, these kinds of live streams, I do this twice. Like I said, I haven't done this since for 9 months, but that's 9 months publicly. I actually do these live streams twice a month just for the bootcamp attendees. Usually there's like a few people who join for those and they have specific questions about their language projects. So I'm always very happy to see people in bootcamp, and I hope you'll check it out. You can see the link that Kiddichai just shared. So Jonathan says, Giorich, Giasmurich, I'm doing very well. Just been telling everybody I'm in Indonesia, been having my Indonesia project, and I'm having a blast here. I really love Indonesia. I love how far your money gets you. Like this apartment that I'm currently in, this is a 2-bedroom apartment with a spectacular view. I don't need the second bedroom. I'm by myself. But it just happened that the better views and the taller apartments are 2 bedrooms. And I'm only paying $30 a night. And it's modern, it's clean, it's got a fantastic view. And it's right in the middle of the city center. So, your money gets you very far in a country like Indonesia. And when I finally relaunched this YouTube channel, the Benny Lewis YouTube channel, I want to talk a lot more about leveraging travel through languages to try to save money, because there's a lot of uncertainty in the economy these days. And I think for a lot of people, maybe if they're able to find work online, then taking that work to a cheaper country can get them a lot further. And for my time here in Indonesia, I've been saving so much money, but living well, eating out all the time, and renting motorbikes and staying in really nice apartments. And I'm really not spending much money at all. So the advantage is because I'm speaking the local language, I can do that. Because even Bali, which is lovely, and I do recommend people visit it, but Bali is completely overrun by tourists. And in Bali, you can get by with just English, but the prices are going up very, very quickly there. So there's a lot of countries. Same with Brazil. I was in Brazil for a big chunk of last year, for almost 9 months last year. And if you go to Rio, a lot of the time, the prices are getting a little out of control for the likes of apartments, especially if you want to be near the interesting parts of the city. But I traveled a lot in the Amazon. I was like a few months literally right off the Amazon River, and living in a lot of those cities, I saved so much money because I spoke Portuguese. So yeah, Dom says, thanks for your response. What you're doing is very inspiring. Dom, you've completed the bootcamp and you're severely addicted to studying Spanish. That is a good addiction to have. I am also addicted to studying my languages. My routine every day is as soon as I wake up, I go outside for an espresso. And, that might be Starbucks or might just be a local cafe. Doesn't matter. But I sit with my espresso and I will study my Anki flashcards. And of course, right now it's Indonesian. That's the priority. But I am obsessed with that. That is how I start my day. Espresso plus Anki. Without fail. I don't think about it. I don't do anything else. Just go have my espresso and study my Anki. So I'm similarly addicted to language learning to you, Dom. And it was great to have you in bootcamp. I'm very glad to see you here. And Jonathan can teach Hebrew. Yeah, someday I'll definitely get around to that finally. But for now, I have had my new language of 2025, which is Indonesian. And next I'm going to be rebooting my other languages. So I might just stay for another minute or two, unless there are any pressing questions from people. I want to make sure if any final questions, feel free to share. But otherwise, as I was saying before, please do check out our summer sale. we got a summer sale for Bootcamp that I've been talking about, the coaching program where I help people over 3 months, and you talk to me directly like you are now during these live streams. Or actually, it's a Zoom call, so you really talk to me. And otherwise, all of the stuff we've written a bunch of books about why particular languages are easy. I've got a lot of video courses and lectures that solve specific problems in your language. And there's like 30 different options we have. So check these out at fi3m.com/summer and use the discount code summer. You'll be able to check that out. So yeah, Sarka, you use Anki, you're a fan. If there's one app you would use to get fluent, what would it be? So Silent, to get fluent, there's no app you can use. I like Anki, but Anki solves one very specific problem, and that is vocabulary. So I'm a big fan of that. But even if you knew every word in the language, your vocabulary problem was solved. You still wouldn't necessarily be fluent, because to be fluent, you have to practice with people. You're not going to solve that with an app. You have to do that with human beings. So during bootcamp coaching, we presume people are getting interaction with either a teacher or a language partner, and that is the main resource. Whenever I'm in intensive language learning mode, the center of gravity for everything I do is always around meeting up with or Zoom calling an actual native speaker and practicing. That is my resource that I recommend to people, not specific apps. Although I'm a big fan, my favorite app is Anki, but that solves the vocabulary problem. It doesn't solve the fluency problem. To get fluent in a language, you have to speak it from day one, as I'm always telling people, and you have to speak it consistently and very frequently. Any conlangs you would add to Bootcamp? Generally, because of the nature of Bootcamp, when people are joining us, it's because they have a very specific need to use their language. Generally, that need is professional or personal because of their interaction with their family, or because of upcoming travels. They want to go explore the country, or they have to move to the country. So because of that, I don't know if we've had people intensively learn Conlangs. We might have had a couple of people learn Esperanto over the years. Maybe a few people have learned academic languages. They have learned Latin and I'm sure a couple of other languages like that. Definitely Latin has come up, but Conlangs, because of the less practical aspect that you can't implement them, not so much. But I think we might have had somebody learn Esperanto a couple of years back. So yeah, I think I might wrap it up there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Do check out our sale, and otherwise, I appreciate all of you. I might see some of you in bootcamp, but otherwise, have a great summer. I hope you're successful in your language learning project. And until next time, I'll wish you all a very happy language learning and happy travels.